And now please welcome Reverend Heather Dawn Clark.
Good morning. Wow, thank you, Kelly. That was just amazing. And of course, that's the message I'm speaking today. Woo! I love it how it all works together for good. So let's see. The topic that I'm talking on is God comes through the wound, comes through the wound. And it might seem like an odd thing for us to be talking about at a religious science church, but honestly, it's one of the basics. If you don't know where you're at, you can't direct mind where to go. If you don't know that you're in Halifax, if you think you're in London or if you think you're in California and you want to go to New York, you'll go the wrong direction if you don't know where you are. So it's a real important thing to tell the truth to you, to tell the truth. So without exception, all things have worked for me and are working for my highest good. I honor it all, every season of my life. Let's say that together. Without exception, all things have worked for and are working for my highest good. I honor it all, every season of my life. Feel it. Feel it, because it's every part and particle of your experience, of my experience. And that means that we can't judge anything as wrong, as bad, as not good enough, as not deep enough, or as not true enough. Every single aspect of life allows us to be where we are right here. So I do this quite often. I have an experience that I can share with you. And thankfully, I worked through it before this morning. But I had a date, and it was really good date. It was so wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I've been divorced for 20 years. So, and we were really having a good conversation. So good that when I left the restaurant, I left my purse. Now, we teach consciousness is everything. I was totally unaware. I was so involved in having this conversation that I didn't realize my purse was not with me for 10 minutes. Quite a long time, actually. Went back, and of course, the hostess had the purse, and so I got the purse. But I cut the date short. Why? Because I was rattled. I was embarrassed. I'm supposed to know better than that. I'm supposed to do better than that. I'm supposed to be more aware than that. See all the judgments? So, and I realized if I just acknowledged I'm embarrassed, I could have continued with the evening and all would have been well. All is still well. But it was a really good thing for me to have worked through, because Saturday I went to the mall. And in the mall, I went to the restroom, I think mostly just to wash my hands. I didn't have a real reason to go. And this man came in with a woman in a wheelchair. And she was quite elderly, and I didn't notice that he wasn't. I just noticed that he was embarrassed. So I said, would you like me to stay with her until so I helped her out of the wheelchair. This was obviously not something he was used to doing. And then I said, I can just wait for her. I'm not in a hurry. I'd be happy to wait and help her get back in the chair. And so if you just wait outside. So he did that. And I realized how synchronous my life is. The very next day, after I'd worked through my own embarrassment, I'm able to be there for someone who's deeply embarrassed and to help him and to help it turned out his mom. And we're all connected. We all have experiences. We all have experiences. Now, so when we're talking about the light or God comes through the wound, we're actually talking about being broken open, not being broken. There is nothing in us that needs to acknowledge brokenness because there is nothing to fix. But I was, the wonderful David Alt, Dr. David Alt, put this lesson together, and he had such great examples. And this was one of them, that we don't need to stick in brokenness, but we do need to be willing to acknowledge where we are. And he said, think of it as putting a Band-Aid on a wound. It's going to do nothing but maybe irritate you. In order for that wound to heal, you need to acknowledge that you have a wound. So think about your lives. Think about your lives. What is it that you haven't acknowledged that you're trying so desperately to deal with? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it brokenheartedness? Is it a diagnosis that wasn't favorable? Is it a relationship that has had some issues? Any of these things can be the place where the light flows through if you're but willing to acknowledge it. Because what happens is as soon as you acknowledge, you're free and the light comes. David Alt pointed out that in every recovery program that he knows, that I know, every 12-step program, there's always a couple of steps, usually 4 and 5, that first of all, you make a fearless inventory, and then you acknowledge it to one other person. And what that does is frees you from your own judgment and from being judged by another, because you've accepted it as being your experience. Is it the spiritual truth of you? No. But spiritual teacher Panache Desai, anyone know him? He's been on Super Soul Sunday, and he's an Indian from London, grew up in London, so he has this wonderful London accent. And but he grew up in, the Hindu teaching. So he was, as a child, going to the temple every Sunday, meditating and praying. And he said, without fail, every time, they often had self-actualized beings there every single time. They'd look into his little eyes and say, we're so grateful that you came. We've been waiting for you for such a long time. Now, you could say that to any child. In fact, I hope we do. I'm so grateful that you came. We've been waiting for you for so long, because what that does is it stimulates the presence of power of universal mind within that being. It says, yes, we're so happy that you came. You have something to contribute. And he decided when he was a young adult that he would start his work. And he doesn't do any form or modality, which I think is pretty interesting. He just allows presence to move through him. He meditates a lot, and he calls people on their stuff. He said, in one of the episodes that Oprah did, he was encouraging people to say, I am a victim. And of course, we don't put those words after the holy words, I am. And that came out in Oprah too. We don't choose to, but choosing not to, when you are telling a victim story all over the place, you might as well claim it as, that's how I'm feeling right now. I am a victim. As once you've claimed it, you can release it and let it go, because you're not a victim, even though you've got this big story. There's a Christian writer who has a really beautiful piece. He says, God uses broken things. And this is very interesting. I left all of my notes somewhere. Okay. I don't need them. He says, the broken soil produces plants. The broken clouds produce rain. And the broken people produce community. And you that are in community and know that you're closest to people when they reveal who they are, what's going on. There is nothing in this teaching that says you need to be little or different or afraid. There's everything saying, just the way you are, you have something of value to give. And here's the quote. The wound is the place where the light enters you. Of course, the poet Rumi said that, and it's absolutely the truth. Now, this is going to be interesting to you. In the Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Ernest Holmes talks about the confession of mistakes or of sins. Page 501 for you scholars that want to check me out and see, did he really say this? He did. He said, and he talks about psychoanalysis in that section. He said, psychoanalysis is good because it allows us to go into this place where we acknowledge where we've been so that we can let Spirit's light enter and let go of the mistakes we've made. Remember, the universe holds nothing against us. Put your hand on your heart. I was born innocent. Say it, please.
I was born innocent.
And I'm innocent now. The universe holds nothing against me. And neither do I. Oh, isn't that powerful? Okay, and here's something else Ernest Holmes said. Even if our hearts condemn us, we know that the Spirit which gave the heart is greater than its gift. So that's for us to pay attention that even when we're making ourselves wrong, the presence that created us and is creating out of us is greater than its gift. And the last one, and this is also from the textbook, Ernest said, an evolved soul judges no one, condemns no one, but realizes that all are on the road of experience seeking the same good, and that each must ultimately find their home in heaven. That's the welcome home. We're finding it every time that we choose love, every time we choose peace, every time we realize the power and presence of God. So there's a story about a young woman who was blind, and she was a very bitter young woman. She was bitter about her blindness. She felt that it was not fair. The only thing that was really good in her life is that she had a very loving boyfriend, and he cared for her, and he kept building her up, and he kept telling her how beautiful she was. And finally, and she kept asking her if she would marry him. And she said, well, if I could see, I would marry you. So finally, a pair of eyes became available. And so she had an operation and had these eyes and now was sighted. And she discovered that her boyfriend was blind. And because she hated the blindness, she would not marry him, but left him. Many months later, she got a letter from him. It said, please take good care of my eyes. But see, this is our story. The universe is forever giving us everything we need. Everything we need. And we're saying, no, thank you. No, thank you. Not that way. I'd like it a different way. I'd like it my way. But what if the way it's being given is perfect? Is perfect. We're already being given it. Rumi has another poem, and it's absolutely the perfect poem for this message, and also another Dr. Tom Costa quote. Dr. Tom was fond of saying, when you're going through hell, go through it. Don't make a condominium there. Right? Go through it. Go through it. So this being human is a guest house. Now I do need my notes. because I really love this poem. That's only the first line. Thank you, Pam. Now that was two, boy. Thank you, Vanna. Okay. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be cheating you out. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Now, if we could live our lives that way, how powerful we would be, because that's being purely authentic, allowing absolutely everything to be as it is, making it welcome. And all the great teachers say the same thing, including Ernest. When you do that, you're living in alignment with the truth of your being, and all things are possible. The life that you've envisioned will become yours. This being human is a guest house. The wound is the place where the light comes in, and so it is. Thank you. Now I'm going to pray. Diane's going to set us up with this beautiful song and then prayer.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
And so knowing that there truly is only love, everywhere present, at every point of space and time, and that one I call God, but it can go by any other name. It makes it no less powerful, no less eternal, for it is the eternality of divine mind, of that one life that is God's life. I know that this life is my life right here, right now. And so I speak this word in the first person for each one who makes it welcome. And if there's something that doesn't fit, just let it wash over you. Nothing can change you without your agreement. This is what I know. I know that love is the only healing power of the universe. And it is healing right now every false belief, every judgment, every self-criticism that has ever been. It is like a beautiful stream flowing through the consciousness, washing it, eradicating any pain, and allowing that light to shine brightly through the cracks through the wounds, through the broken places. For broken open means revealing the God presence within. I know that this means that in every area of life, God is love. God is love. In the body is healing, the body of anything unlike the wholeness and beauty and vitality that it is. It is healing the relationships, unifying, connecting, uplifting. Love is healing finances and making well everything. And love is that spark that opens the mind to creativity, that produces newness, beautiful poetry, beautiful music, new ideas in every walk of life. I accept them all. I accept that I am a place that is safe, and I am welcoming of the presence of God in all of its forms. This guest house that I am is filled with the awareness of the presence of God. And for all of this, I am so grateful. I simply place this word in the action of law. The law of mind, the law of love has it. It's already complete. Please help me anchor it by saying with me, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Reverend Heather.